everybody. This is Dusty again from the Fellowship Committee, and I am here with the illustrious Todd Farnham, and we are going to learn more about him today, and I'm very excited. Thank you for having
You're
me
welcome.
here under the Eiffel Tower. It's
Yeah.
just wonderful. So, when did you become a member of our church?
We joined when we moved to Yankton. I think it was in 1991, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
And Kevin and Lisa Upsall were back in town at that time, and kind of got involved with them and married into the UCC church.
Okay.
And so at that time, it was just kind of a natural thing to join, and the music and program and everything kind of sucked me in. So
Yeah.
been involved in choir and everything, and
Yes.
different groups and meetings and boards and things like that.
Yeah. So, where did you move back from?
We were at the time living in Iowa, and we did it. I was after I was out of grad school. We moved to Iowa and then to Idaho for a short time, and back to Iowa, and then moved to Yankton in 1990
Oh, wow.
with a nice
So where did-
snowstorm on October 31st.
Of course you did. Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Redfield, South
Oh,
Dakota, up north.
Hmm.
It's about the same distance as Siberia on the equator when you go around the other side. So it's cold up there in the wintertime.
Yeah, and that's where they have that lovely institution up there.
Yeah.
I know a lot about those
Developmental
people.
center now.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So what influenced you to move to Yankton?
Basically a job opening.
Okay.
A different type of a job.
And what do you do?
I'm a clinical audiologist with Yankton Medical Clinic now,
Okay.
and I've been with a few other private practices in Yankton prior to that. So been here doing that since 1990.
So where did you go to college?
I went to my first year at SDSU, go Jacks, and then I was going to be a journalist. I wanted to do a lot of writing and things like that, and journalism at that time was taking a track toward investigative, in your face kind of,
Ooh, Geraldo
nasty
Rivera.
stuff. Yeah, and that didn't appeal to me much, so I kind of got off of that. And then I also followed a girl to USD,
Uh-huh.
so that's how that worked.
I see. So what did your parents do?
My parents live in Redfield still. Dad was both retired now; they're in their early 80s. Mom was a beautician back in the day.
Oh, good.
And had her own shop clear
Great
back in
career.
the early 60s,
Mm-hmm.
which was pretty rare. And so I never really had a haircut from a man until I was like 14 years old, because I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
You get free haircuts all the time. Dad worked with Rural Electric
Okay.
as a lineman, and then foreman later on.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. So,
Great job.
hard-working folks.
Yes. So they're retired. Do you get to
Yeah.
see them much?
Yeah, I try to get up there
Good.
3 or 4 times a year, and we meet for other things, weddings and
Do you
golf
have
events and
siblings?
things like that. Yeah, 2 brothers. We're each about 2 years apart from each other. Middle brother Tal is a retired teacher. He's retired already, which irritates the other 2 of us.
Of course.
But he's enjoying life doing that, and married. You have 2 kids and a new daughter-in-law.
Oh.
So we just went to a wedding for. Youngest brother is a dentist in Mitchell,
Oh.
and he has 3 kids, and they're all up and growing. And his youngest daughter's planning to come back and join his practice.
Oh, neat.
And her fiance is also working as a dentist in that practice. So
Nice.
yeah, he has a nice turnover program,
Yeah.
and then works for him. So.
Yes, absolutely. So when you were in school, high school,
Mhm.
did you participate in sports or activities of
Yeah.
any kind?
Yeah, I did a lot of bench warming on the basketball team,
Okay.
but and practice times were fun for us, because we would try to make the first squad look bad, and that was our fun part of basketball.
Right.
And I did declam. Let's see. I didn't mind giving speeches and stuff. We did some of that too.
Okay.
Sports-wise, I was a student manager for football for 4 years, and was involved in choir and
Yeah.
men's choir, group choir, stuff like that.
So how did you go from journalism to audiology?
That was an interesting story. When at SDSU, I had to take an 8 o'clock a.m. Speech communication class, and it was on the farthest corner of the campus, from where my dorm was. So it was kind of a pain to go over there and get there in time. We give the speeches and all that, and then so when I went to USD, that was going to be another alternative that I would have to do, is give the speeches again and all that. So I took an alternative, which was communication disorders class, which was a little overview of hearing issues and speech and language things. And with my own hearing loss, I grew up being tested all the time and kind of went through that. So that part of it kind of struck me as interesting, you know. And I had a pretty good advisor at the time too. And then honestly, I just kind of like merged into that. It really wasn't, to this day, I don't think I planned to be an audiologist, but it just kind of happened that way. It was something that felt comfortable for me.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Yeah,
People should use it more.
Yeah,
especially for little ones.
Yeah, and it's enjoyable. It's a pretty wide variety from, you know, working with the ENT doctors, you know, doing tests and things on people for hearing and balance problems and communication issues, swallowing, those kinds of things that they work with. And amongst all the different types of hearing devices nowadays, which are exploding everywhere.
Right.
So that's a challenge to keep up with that stuff.
Cool. Glad you went into it. Good.
Yeah. I would have been happy doing cartoon voices, or I wouldn't mind being a narrator, like a professional narrator or something either. Maybe retirement time I can do that.
So is that like the surprising thing about you, or is there something else you want to?
Surprising thing, well, I have a pretty significant hearing loss.
Oh.
And also, I was 2 pound, 12-ounce baby.
What?
So but I survived. Thankfully to a bunch of nuns that were nurses in Huron at the time. I think that helps.
2 pounds, 2 ounces.
12 ounces.
12 ounces.
Still pretty little.
That's
by those
really
standards.
little.
In 62, that was kind of
significantly little. Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are glad you made it, including your folks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, what was something in your life that changed you a lot? Good, bad?
You know, I mean, probably 2 things. One was my kids being born, and the other was getting divorced. Both 2 extremes of emotions that you could have, and I think probably both had some benefits, and both, you know, it's been nice watching my kids grow up and their families develop and stuff, and I'm still, you know, very cordial with each other and my ex-spouse and stuff. And you know, when you have kids with somebody, you don't ever really disattach from them,
right?
You know, because your kids are there and your grandkids and everything. So I would guess those 2 things probably, just as one extreme to the other.
So do your kids live in the area?
My oldest daughter Lacey and her family live in just moved to Lock Lake, which is kind of southeast of St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Okay.
Just a few miles off the interstate. It's a beautiful place for Papa Todd to go visit.
Yes.
Have a nice lake in the backyard. And my youngest daughter Leslie and her husband Bill, they live out in the north shore of Lake Tahoe.
Wow.
And she just started a new job a week ago.
Oh, wow.
So she's been very busy, and she's a biologist by training, and she's working with now it's a private development of 26,000 homes in a housing development association, and she is a trail manager that they build trails and activity things for this housing development.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's really kind of like a town.
Yeah, it is.
So,
yeah.
Funny thing about
do
her
we have
is,
26,000 homes in Yankton?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Funny thing about Leslie was when she was maybe about a junior in high school, I asked her, I said, Leslie, do you have any idea what you want to do? You know, just curious. And she goes, I don't know, something outside. And so she has
there you go.
taken that path.
Yes,
all of her
she
jobs have
is.
been outdoors.
Yeah. So what do you remember about your grandparents?
Grandparents, we were probably closer with Mom's parents. They were 15 miles away, so we had a lot of times we could go to the farm, and as my 2 brothers and I, and we get to do that when we were younger. Once we got older and a little more rambunctious, then we each had to come by ourselves. But that was even better because you got all the attention.
Yeah. Did Grandma bake?
Oh yeah, lots of baking, and we learned how to cook and stuff from her and from Mom too.
So what's your heritage?
The Farnham's, there's a lot of English in it. My grandpa's Christensen with a Tensen,
Okay.
or Son. I'm sorry. Danish, some touch of German maybe. I don't know. I've never really taken a true DNA test to see what it all is, but so all of us got kicked out of some country, when we came here.
True. And what did your dad's parents do?
My dad's parents, my grandpa George, that's the other great grandpa on the other side, but Grandpa Charles, that side of the family still, a lot of them live in Seattle,
Oh, wow.
Portland, Spokane area, and there's a lot of them I don't really know. A lot of my cousins that actually live there, just because we weren't able to really mingle that much with them. I think he was I didn't know him that well, but he was in business, and he was really high up in like the Masons, Shriners type stuff, out there. And then my grandmother, they had separated, and later, so my dad's mother, she lived in Huron for many years, and so we would see her a lot more, going to visit and stuff like that. And she used to make really weird jellies and jams out of stuff that we didn't think people should eat, like forest things and cactus berries and whatnot, but it was all really good, but it was weird to us.
That's really interesting. I'm fascinated with that kind of thing. So fun. So you mentioned your great grandparents. Do you remember your great grandparents?
One, some by pictures, but there was one thing that's stuck in my mind. Grandpa George was in the nursing home in Flandreau.
Okay.
And I've seen a picture of myself, probably maybe second grader, third grader, maybe, just tall enough to be standing by him. But he would take his cane when he wanted you to come over and get closer to him. He would reach over with his cane, kind of like a vaudeville act, and pull you over there by your neck with the cane. So I kind of remember that. That was, one of those weird things, and it was kind of spooky. We didn't know him that well, but that was just kind of weird.
Yeah. Come here, little one.
Yeah.
Hansel and Gretel time. Oh, my goodness. So, what time of year is your favorite time of year?
We're coming into it.
Okay.
I love the fall.
Football.
Long fall, football weather, yes. Cooler nights, moist, damp mornings. Temps go down. I'm not a real hot weather person. I had heat exhaustion a couple times, and I don't. It just doesn't appeal to me that much when it's really hot. But I've always liked the fall. We used to do lots of pheasant hunting growing up in Redfield.
Okay.
That whole area. Haven't done that for years, but that part of the season really kind of brings me back to growing up in that area and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So, what's one of the most fun things you've ever done?
I think going on a whim of skydiving with my daughter out in California, that was a blast.
Oh,
Very
my.
scariest thing I'd ever done, but most exhilarating, and I almost wanted to do it again immediately.
Did you actually jump out by yourself on your own?
It was tandem to another jumper.
Okay.
And we always joke, the two of us were as tight as two guys would ever be, strapped together, and then we were joking that our parachute was from, that they used to use for Jeeps when they threw them out of the plane. It wasn't, but.
So my hat's off to you.
Really,
I don't think I could ever do that.
I would never bungee jump, and I don't have any interest in going in a hot air balloon. Those take too long to come down. The bungee jump does it, but I don't.
No.
The feeling of that free falling, just coming out of the plane for a few seconds was scary. But then you don't really feel like you're falling. There's so much air pressure.
Okay. Wow.
I would say that's probably the most exciting thing. Maybe.
And have you done a lot of traveling?
I've been to Italy, France, and so we've kind of been a longer tour. And then went on one of Vi's tours back in during the 65th anniversary day of D-Day.
Okay.
The very first one that we went on over there, and that was great. And also also did a choir tour, sang in some of the cathedrals.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
I always joke that Ted playing the organ in the large cathedral. I'm spacing it. The one that just was on fire here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that one of
He
the big
played
cathedrals.
there?
Yeah, he played in there, and our choir sang, and we a couple of us in the back row. Of course, we would joke that we actually made some of the French people cry. They enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, that's yeah, I just keep hearing about the choir trips over there, and I wish I would have been, because I think that kind of trip for a different purpose other than
Right.
just sightseeing would be really,
and a real purpose.
yeah, a unique
And
experience
to
for
be
sure.
in some of those buildings that are so old, like you'd be in you're in the new part, and this was built in 1540. That kind of a thinking.
Right.
And it's hard for us to keep a building for 50 years around here.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, what advice would you give someone, or your younger self?
Right.
What advice would you give them?
Maybe some that I've done. I mean, keep reading, try to keep learning things. Maybe I think I would probably try to take better care of myself for a longer time. I did really good up through my 40s and into my early 50s, and then it just kind of went downhill. And I kind of blame that on work and whatnot, but that's not the case. But be
It's a
nice to be able to
constant
get back into that routine and
constant
be more active.
battle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hate it.
I like to eat like I did in junior high. That's
Yes.
the problem.
Get it. I do. Yeah. Ice cream signs go
Right.
by now,
Right.
and we have to just drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a different road if you have to. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me
Yeah,
over.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And, I hope the Eiffel Tower is something that keeps you happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.